to it there, the notion that Waterford won't play Jerome Maher at fullback because he's young and inexperienced. Given the job of marking Lara Corbett, that's not exactly an easy afternoon either.
Oh, he's in for a real baptism of fire, there's no doubt about that. But look, he's a young man, he's supposed to be a very tight marker, and that's what they need. I mean, we've seen in the last couple of weeks the opposing teams marking Tipperary, they've been marking space, they've been ball watching, not knowing where the forwards have actually gone. And I mean, Tipperary played, and particularly Lara Corbett, I think he's learned an awful lot from Kilkenny and from Henry Shefflin, the way he drifts into space, and the guy that's marking him is watching ball and suddenly turns around and he's at the other corner of the field, and they find him then in possession when they get possession, and they always seek to get to Lara. But Lara's game is probably in a situation where he's tight in a cornerback. He will drift out of maybe to centre forward position, he'll drift out to midfield, and he picks up an awful lot of breaking ball, and he's the orchestrator, and he will start throwing the passes around the field to bring the other players into play.
The critical thing, obviously, from a Waterford point of view, Cyril Farrell, is that they get their own attack involved in this game.
Yeah, you see, Michael, it's okay playing defensive, but like, where are going the scores come from? Now, I would say that they will draw back here and try to stay in the game. But Tip are very, very experienced. They've only have one new guy since last year, John O'Keefe. Like, he, you know, from Clonunty, he's the only one that's new. Now, they will try to pinpoint John O'Keefe, but like for Waterford to stay in the game, not only to play defensive, but they have to get a few scores on the board. And like it would open up the game if Waterford could go on the attack and get goals, because they're really expecting Tipperary to get them. But if Waterford got one or two in the first half, they'd be right in this game, and they're going to need a goal or two to have any chance of winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if they're going to have a chance, obviously John Milan will have a big say in the game as well. But the young
Queen, big crowd here. They're expecting round about 40,000.
Oh, I'd say they are indeed, Ger, and one or two more perhaps on top of that. Well, I hope and presume President McAleese is going to enjoy this great occasion, as we're hoping to do ourselves. John Milan still is such an important part of this Waterford team. He was certainly very important the last day for them.
Yeah, no doubt about that, and that's why Waterford maybe take a bit of heart on the basis of the clear performance the last day against Tipperary in the first opening 15 minutes, when a lot of ball went into the inside forwards, and when they got it, they turned the Tipperary full back line very, very easily. And I'm sure that's what Davy will be planning: get quick ball into Milan, and when he gets it in there, he's very, very dangerous. And Brian O'Sullivan in the other corner as well from Ballygunner is a very, very lively player as well. So if you have these guys in your inside line, you must get the ball inside there.
Indeed, Cyril, Tip did a little bit of reshuffling of their defence since the last day.
Yeah, well, Paddy Stapleton is back in. He always would be once we came in.
Sure, yeah.
Waterford still trying to win the All-Ireland. Bit of a few tussles off the ball going on there.
And wisely Brian Gavin just lets it off and lets it onto them, and Richie Foley gets it immediately, plays it in field here, and as expected, Kevin Moore in number 7 has gone to centre half back. Mentioned number 7's, here's Paulie Marr, and Paulie Marr tries for the opening point but puts it to the left of the post, and he puts it wide. I think he's feeling a little bit confident. He broke his duck where scoring's concerned in the semi-final against Clare, got 2 points that afternoon in the Gaelic rounds at Limerick. Clinton Hennessy ready to take the puck out, now 34 years of age. Into the middle of the field, well gathered in there by Shane McGrath. Sending it down once again into the forwards. Lara Corbett nursing it for himself, trying to get away there from the attentions of Jerome Marr. And the first time the ball...
Cornerback, Brick Walsh at fullback, Kevin Moore at centre back, and Tony Brown and Dara Fives on the two wings, with Tony Brown switching to left half forward.
Worst
left half back.
Owen Kelly taking the free, and Owen Kelly putting it over the bar. Opening the scoring then after just over a minute's play, where it's been all Tipperary, 2 attacks, finally yielding 1 score.
And you're also interested in Noel McGrath, who last year dismantled Michael Walsh at centre forward. He's now gone right half forward on Tony Brown, with Seamus Callan going into the centre.
Lots and lots of movement then among the forwards of Tipperary, and they get it in again. This time John O'Brien's shot is blocked down initially, but he gets there second time of asking from outside the 45-metre line. He puts it over the bar. Very fine shot indeed, and that'll settle down John O'Brien, who had a poor enough semi-final, was taken off in the second half. Nothing poor about that. And the 29-year-old from Toomevara gets his first of the afternoon, and Tip lead by 2 points to no score. That was a very fine block down there initially. From the puck out, it's another brilliant catch in the air by Shane McGrath. In the early stages here, he is lording it, and in goes Owen Kelly, as if to say to him, keep it going. And Tony Brown has his own word for Kelly. Lots of hype.
Yeah, but Shane McGrath dominating the game. He was involved in great...
He's now just some 6 points, I think it is, short of 400 points in Championship Hurling. And this one has drifted away. This was a superb catch there by Shane McGrath just moments earlier. Really is back to his best form. An all-star a couple of years ago. Clinton Hennessy now trying to set up a meaningful Waterford attack, trying to get beyond the half-back line of Tipperary. Back goes John O'Keefe. Challenge there by Shane O'Sullivan. Away quickly, but he hits it poorly. Straight to a Waterford man. That's as far as Tony Brown. Tony Brown trying to pinpoint Brian O'Sullivan over there, but out comes Michael Cahill with it. Released to Porrick Marr, needs a second touch, then gets it away. Such an economical hurler, all the way down in. Lark Corbett's reading it, Corbett's in, and Corbett scores! Lark Corbett, the leading goal scorer of all time for Tipperary. He's on 22 goals now, and what a start this is for Tipperary, and what another devastating blow for Waterford. In he came, it was a brilliant pass from all the way out from Porrick Marr into another man with a yellow helmet, and Lark Corbett crashes it into the back of the net.
Brilliant goal, Porrick Marr again, a long ball, and Jerome Maher has shown he's an experienced caught ball watching. Brick Walsh is going to get a yellow card now for throwing the hurl. I think if you see it in the replay again, you'll see the hurl coming across. And but just typical Lark Corbett, reading the play all the time. A great diagonal ball by Porrick Marr in over the top, and a great finish.
Well, what a start that was for Tipperary.
Just watch here when he's finishing. Just watch the hurl coming through the air there. Brian Gavin spotted it, and rightly so, a yellow card.
So Clinton Hennessy has been busy, this time trying to keep it away from Shane McGrath, but it was batted down by Noel McGrath, his namesake. Tony Brown onto it, on towards Shane O'Sullivan, drifting around there in the half-forward line. Pursued there vigorously by Conor O'Mahony. Gets it back once again to McGrath, or on to Callanan. All the way in, and a mistake in there. But this time there is a defender back to help out, and that defender is Michael Brick Welch, wearing 6 but playing at full-back this afternoon. In as far as Stephen Malumphy, the Waterford captain, trying to get them going over towards Milan's corner. They've got to feed Milan early and often and see if he can get the measure once.
Yeah, straight away there. Waterford really need to settle into the game. They need a couple of scores. That's a foul there on John Milan. But Clinton Hennessy there, bit of a rush of blood off the line, and lucky enough no one coming in. Brick covering the house, but he's on a yellow card now very, very early in the game, and it's going to be interesting to see. You see Lark Corbett switching into full forward again now.
Waterford need a score. Porrick Mahoney with that free, and he's put it over just inside the right-hand upright, not leaving too much margin for error there. It's taking them some 6 minutes to get their opening score, but that's an important one. So 1-2 to a point. Brendan Cummins ready to take the puck out. They were doing a lot of short pucking out when they met last at the championship. This one's a very long one. Breeze behind Tipperary for the opening 35 minutes, but it is a light wind, I'll remind you. There's Owen McGrath back helping, but hitting it to the man who might have been marking him. That's Porrick Marr, and Marr back again all the way down towards John O'Brien. At right corner forward at this stage, taking his man out of position, and that's a lovely shot. There was nothing Brick Walsh could do about it. He was out there following him, but pinpoint accuracy by John O'Brien, and it's a goal and 3 to a point.
Yeah, but Jerry hit the nail on the head. Owen McGrath went back, won the ball in his own half-back line, and poked it straight up to his own man. He should have been switching that over to the far side of the field on the diagonal, away from the loose man. And again, John O'Brien not standing on the edge of the square, not suiting Brick Walsh, moving all over the place.
This is a very nervous start by Waterford. Shane O'Sullivan should have caught that ball, didn't. Back with Noel McGrath instead. Lark Corbett lurking with intent in there, edge of the goal line area, and back out once again to get it outside the square, hand passing it inside here. Neat balance and control by Kelly inside towards Noel McGrath, and Noel McGrath fires it over the bar. They're having a field day. Early stages in this final, but it's looking ominous for Waterford already.
It is, Joe. Watch Noel McGrath coming in. Just took it off Owen Kelly's hurl. Beautiful sidestepping over the bar. But
this time Waterford tried the short puck out. Came to nothing. There was a foul anyway, and Kelly fouling.
Really, in this form, the way they're moving, they're nearly impossible to mark.
Clinton Hennessy, huge one up to the 20-metre line to John Milan, caught in well with that left paw, tries to get away, was being held, and the referee gives him a free in. Tip were trying to be disciplined, trying to keep him at bay there. He won a free. There's another time he might have been blown for holding on too long and trying to take steps and burst his way forward, but Waterford are happy to get the decision. Porrick Mahoney will take this. It's more or less from the same angle that he converted his first one. Only his second championship match, remember. A Waterford team with 4 under-21s in their ranks today in the starting 15. And that yields exactly the same return once again. So a second pointed free by Porrick Mahoney. the young Ballygunner player.
He's a very accomplished free taker. If you just look at John O'Brien now, Jerry, he's over on 40 yards from goal out in the sideline. That's where his Brick Walsh brought out to, you know, and even though Brick is coming in under this, you know, he's not playing as an orthodox full forward at all, and really the ploy of playing Brick Walsh back there really you know, has no bearing now. He should go back probably centre back.
And it's Tip again trying to win the battle in their own half back line. John O'Keefe was trying to get it on his stick, but it breaks out eventually here and cleared there by Garroyd Ryan. Not a very long clearance. Chance here to pick it up by Richie Foley. Cross towards O'Sullivan's corner. Michael Cahill over there as well. Two very young players. So Brian O'Sullivan does well. Driving inside. Carries some promise. He was being held. It's got to be a free in. So a chance of a third point. And another free coming up for Waterford. Michael Cahill there. Really being tested for everything and anything by Brian O'Sullivan.
I'd say he took plenty of steps there before he was, you know, the hand came in across him, but he probably had 6 or 7 steps taken at that stage. But you know, they're the only two players. John, you know, have plenty of pace, and but they really need to tighten up around the half-back line, middle of the field. Tipperary are dominating midfield at the moment.
Not the easiest to freeze by any manner of means for a free taker from that side, hitting it off his right, but he's got a third point, and Pádraig Mahoney doing what he was put into the team to do, get the scores early on. So a goal and a point between the teams, 1-4 to 3 points.
So Gerard was a feature of the game against Cork with Tipperary. That 17 frees they gave away that day, and they're giving away a lot of frees early on today as well.
What a great catch again here by Lar Corbett, very near the sideline, floating it in. That's absolutely brilliant. A goal and a point by Lar Corbett. And his movement is quite bewildering. He's all over the place. Positions, as you were mentioning earlier, Michael, mean very little for the Tipperary forwards.
That's a brilliant catch. Like he has a big height advantage there. Lara's about 6'1", right out in the sideline, and he just curls it in over the bar. Brilliant score.
Once again, John O'Keefe really determined to do well in this match. Towards Patrick Maher, the man they call Bonner, the man in the white helmet, trying to win possession number 12 for Tipperary. Out it comes once again. Neatly played into the path of John O'Brien. Needs a second touch to get it up, 45 metres out. And this one is going to go off the post. I think Clinton Hennessy thought it was going to go wide and he was leaving it. Comes back out as far as Michael Brick Welch. Change of direction past Noel McGrath. Neatly inside here. Tony Brown playing it left half back. Touchdown here towards Brian O'Sullivan for Waterford. Back once again, this time towards Richie Foley. Foley hitting it and hitting it wide. Wasted opportunity. An attack that carried some promise but yielded nothing in the end. All the Waterford scores have come so far from place balls.
Yeah, so poor option there, Gerard. Owen McGrath had moved into space well outside. He was loose 20 yards away from Pádraig Maher. Should have been flicked out to him. Switch
of position again as Noel McGrath drifted across to right half forward. Not too long ago when people were bemoaning the fact that Tip didn't have a half forward line. That's beautifully in there, and it's well defended. And this time it's got to be a free out. Looks to be Noel Connors who's on the ground. And the referee taking note here of John O'Brien's part in all of that. So it looks like it's going to be a yellow card. So 2 yellow cards issued, 1 per team by our match official, Brian Gavin from Offaly. And Noel Connors requiring some attention.
High when he got the yellow card. Watch him coming in here. See the shoulder into the head. Just, you know, he was going in for the shoulder. He's just a bit taller than him, but he caught him high, and that's, you know, I think if there's any contact with the head, you're going to get a yellow card now the way it's gone.
One of the best teams in the land, the best in 2010. Clinton Hennessy with the free. Huge one up here towards Pádraig Mahoney. But breaks back down again towards Noel McGrath. Deep in there, putting the pressure on Brick Walsh. And Brick Walsh does well. Usually lays it off with either a hand pass or a little short stick pass. And putting his defence into some trouble, however, here, because Lar Corbett was there, making life difficult. Brick Walsh again, another hand pass. Taken up here by a very determined Kevin Moran. Moran laying it offside towards Mahoney, trying to go by O'Keefe. It's Mahoney dragged back by O'Keefe, and the referee says play on. Will it produce anything for Waterford? Back once again towards Kevin Moran, trying to steer it on target, and Brendan Cummins takes possession and begins the counter-attack. Huge one down towards Owen Kelly, batted away there from him, however, by Noel Connors, happily recovered. Connors again now, tenaciously taking it out. 1-5 to 3 points down. Waterford having made a wretched start to this match. That's a poor clearance. It's only as far as Shane McGrath. Gets great length into the clearance, all the way in towards O'Brien again. John O'Brien menacingly going forward. The backs are after him still. Michael Brick-Walsh trying to keep him at bay. Back out as far as Lar Corbett, and Lar Corbett floating it over the bar. Goal and 2 for Lar. Wonderful play by the 30-year-old from Fairless Sarsfields.
Yeah, Jerry, I think you have to give great credit to Brick-Walsh there, though. John O'Brien was bearing down on goals. He's already on a yellow card. If he had touched him, pulled him down, it was a penalty, and he just had the discipline not to do it. Okay, there's a point given away at the end, but it could have been a lot worse for Waterford. And Jared, just in that previous passage of play, you know, Kevin Moore, Brick came out with the ball, passed it to Kevin Moore, and he should have delivered that ball 70 yards up the field. There was a big solo run, then a pass to Pádraig Mahony, another solo run, and they eventually poked the ball into Brendan Cummins. They need to move the ball an awful lot quicker.
Clinton Hennessy's puck out. Waterford needing a score, big time. Shane O'Sullivan. He rather tentatively hit that one. Just about made the end line in the end. That's a very tame and rather poor effort. From the puck out, it's Tipperary once again advancing. Lovely balance and control by Kelly. That's swung around there by Tony Brown. Stick was high. He's got to get a talking to for this.
Yeah, it's definitely a free, and I don't know what Tony is arguing about. But look where Tony is again. He's over in the right half back position, but Seamus Callan is after dragging him 70 yards across the field, and those runs are going to take their toll.
Team. They might go another point down here. Owen Kelly ready to hit this. Pointed one free already. 65-metre line is to the left. On more or less a still afternoon, he finds the range perfectly. So between them, the full forward line so far has scored a goal and 6 points.
Jerry, you'd imagine maybe somebody like Owen Kelly with his experience in hurling around the middle of the field to read the game and play in front of the half back line and try to give them a bit of cover.
Well, the big attendance here. Didn't quite make the 40,000 this afternoon. The official attendance is 36,654. Watching Tipperary launch another attack, and that's caught and dropped by Noel Connors. Needs reinforcements. Kevin Moran comes in to help him. Always busy, looking up to try and place it with accuracy. Shane Welch, we haven't seen him get any ball at all so far. The ball has simply not got into the Tipperary half of the field with any degree of regularity. Everybody appealing for Declan.
Tackle now, and John O'Brien's earlier, good shoulder. He left himself a bit open, maybe into the side. You know, I think it has to be shoulder to shoulder.
I think that's exactly it. And Shane O'Sullivan, the Waterford player, a very fine career, winning 5 of them. That's cut in there, down towards Owen Kelly. Again, the movement is so swift, so decisive, and the finish here by Kelly is inch perfect. Wonderful score. 2 in a row then by Owen Kelly, his first to come from play. And Tipperary are simply lording it here by a goal and 8 to 3 points.
That's a brilliant point. You see the little look just to see where it was and hit the ball back over his shoulder, couldn't be hooked. Brilliant score, and Owen is moving very well all this summer. That's Garrow O'Brien there trying to hand pass it backwards towards a colleague. It's picked up instead here by John Milan. Haven't seen enough of him because they haven't been able to get the ball in there to him. Shane O'Sullivan required here on the 40. Slipping it out here as far as Tony Brown. Might go for a point here. He got a goal here in the 2002 Munster final. He's got a score here. He's got a point. Tony Brown, 38 years of age now in his 20th championship season. He got loose, got free. It was a huge distance out, but it was a wonderful score. And it's 1-8 to 4 points. Yeah, great vision by John Milan, a great score by Tony.
Again, Tipperary come forward with menacing intent. Shane McGrath slipping it in there, difficult one for the backs to look to, and it's Lar Corbett again, stretching up for it, taking it, making an angle for himself as he wheels around confidently and strikes with ease. A goal and 3 now for Lar Corbett. Real tour de force in the opening half of this match, and only 20 minutes gone. Well, there's so much to admire about Tipperary's skill level, and their forward play is quite bewildering at times. From Clinton Hennessy's puck out, it's Conor O'Mahony went to challenge for it there, the centre half back of Tipperary, trying to win it there with Shane O'Sullivan. Pressure on again, and away come Tipperary. They're the ones with the huge appetite, the All-Ireland champions, determined to win back the Munster Cup. Third final for them in 4 years. Back out it comes. Seamus Callan's racing for it. Going over there as well was Owen McGrath. And Owen Callan. Free taken by Waterford in towards John Mullane, inside to the inside forward line. Porrick Maher. Ooh, did he pick it off the ground? I think he might have done. Yeah. Free in. So a chance for Waterford to get themselves another score. And it's so important that they do not panic. Was it hopping just
I think it
slightly?
bounced, yeah. I think it hopped up off the ground.
The referee doesn't have the benefit, unfortunately, of the slow-mo camera.
Yeah, it was just a few frees really keeping Waterford in it at the moment, you know. They need to start hurling in open play and start creating a few scores.
Porrick Mahoney with another one, this one from a more central position. No mistake with it. 4-pointed frees then by the 19-year-old. And Waterford with only 1 point from play so far. That point a little while ago there scored by Tony Brown.
Well, listen, at the point here, none of the midfielders and 6 forwards, no score from play in the first 22 minutes of a Munster final. You know, it's not good enough.
By comparison, 1-7 of the 1-9 for Tip, all coming from play. Seamus Callan losing his way there. Patrick Bonner-Maher in the white helmet over, trying to get it, but Waterford determined to hold on and win the possession. Looks like Kevin Moore in there. Line ball to Waterford. And it's going to take it. It's going to be Richie Foley. Well, can Tipperary maintain this intensity level that they have shown us in the opening 23 minutes? Waterford will be hoping that they get their turn, as it were. That's a great cut in. But now can it produce anything? It's Paul Curran. He's had an easy time of it so far, being able to keep it away from Shane Welch. Reinforcements arriving. Porrick Mahoney, number 12, in there, and the referee's probably going to throw the ball in. But there hasn't been any degree of decent ball going into the Waterford inside forward line.
There hasn't, Jerry. You asked the question, can Tip keep it up? I think they can. Bonner-Maher hasn't touched the ball yet. Seamus Callan hasn't touched the ball. You know, Noel McGrath has been very quiet. I think there's a lot more in the tank.
This man has been very busy, catching great ball earlier on, getting it away this time. Shane McGrath. And to Bonner-Maher, the man you were talking about, he's left it behind, he lost it there, and it's Mullane who takes it up. Captain needs to give some leadership. They need big men out there, Waterford, now to try and get themselves back in to this Munster final. That's Brian O'Sullivan. Out it comes to Tony Brown again, and this time unable to repeat his party piece, hitting it into the city end of Parky. Probably his best position midfield alongside Shane McGrath. They've had an edge there and held sway so far. 25 minutes gone. Several hold-ups for injury. Tony Brown again. Outside to Mullane. Hitting it in. O'Sullivan and Shane Welch coming for it. Neither man able to take it. And back there, almost sweeping, is Porrick Maher again. Covers great ground. Bonner-Maher takes it off. Hand passed outside superbly to John O'Brien. Peripheral vision. Exquisite finishing. Great score. A third for John O'Brien. There's no beating the cleverness, the skill and the craft that these Tipperary players possess. Even as he was falling and challenged, he still managed to found a loose man outside who was marking John O'Brien.
Yeah, I think Waterford were arguing. I think he dropped to Hurley as he gave the hand pass there, but I think it was a free before that. I think Jerome Maher pulled the wrong way under the dropping ball.
Porrick Maher now. Loads and loads of Mahers between the two. Well, we're going to see a replacement for Jerome Maher pretty soon, I gather. Meanwhile, it's Noel McGrath back towards Garrod Ryan. It's target practice. Lark Orbit in there, 1 against 2, bounces out. It's yours, it's mine. No, it's not. Lar in there. Now the reinforcements come in, and Michael Brick-Walsh tries to step away and get the ball away. They're at 6s and 7s. We'll see Jamie Nagle coming in very shortly for Waterford. Here's Kevin Moran. 110 to 5 points. Waterford behind. Shane Welch coming for it. Had a great league season, got a great goal against Limerick in Thurles a few weeks back. Shane O'Sullivan now steadying himself, trying to hit the target and succeeding. Good score. Shane O'Sullivan, the 25-year-old Ballygunner, who had the misfortune to be sent off when the teams met in the league in Thurles. He was caught in the lights, a high ball coming his way, and he reached for it, just lost the sliotar that night. It was misfortunate to get a red card. Change made, so into the match comes Jamie Nagle from Dungarvan, and going out, Jerome Maher.
Yeah, Jerry, you'd have to say Kevin Moore and Tony Brown absolutely hurling brilliantly in the Waterford half-back line. Only for the two of them, Tony Brown is keeping tabs on Seamus Callan, and Kevin Moore is all over Noel McGrath as well, and the two of them really keep Waterford in this game.
Brendan Cummins, 65th championship match today, same as Christy Ring. Balanced beautifully here by Lar Corbett, taking off, Malumphey's after him, it's Corbett looking around. Ooh. If that had hit the back of the net, it would have been some goal. Kelly was in, just unable to apply the kind of deft finish that we normally associate with him. Played forward again here to Kevin Moran. Waterford having to play with a bit more abandon now. They've nothing to lose at this stage, so they've got to go for it. Shane Welch, still Shane Welch, trying to get into the large square, challenged, throwing it, but throwing it only to a Tipperary man. That's John O'Keefe. Well, he was hitting the pass in hope that time, Shane Welch. Nothing came of it. Comes out to Garroyd Ryan. And Garroyd Ryan once again way down the field, beyond Owen Kelly. Back there to pick it up here is Richie Foley, almost playing a little deeper role for a change. Now up to Porrick Mahoney. Seamus Callan's after him, and the referee didn't allow an advantage. There was a push. It's got to be a free to Waterford. Chance of a score, however, because it's about 40, you said before the match started, which is that you hope they would play 15 against 15. Should Waterford, perhaps, Michael, with the wisdom of hindsight, have played that sweeper, maybe for the first 15 minutes?
I don't actually think it made a huge difference. I think the scores came off direct ball from Shane McGrath into Lar Corbett, who did most of the damage, and it's Porrick Mahoney. It's a ball over the bar.
It's a fair point.
Yeah,
Porrick Mahoney with 5 points.
I actually don't think it had a huge bearing early on, but maybe it would have closed down a few avenues. But see Shane Walsh again, a big run inside, should have passed the ball into John Milan in the centre and carried it into the tackle and lost the ball again. Just Waterford, I think, are carrying the ball too much. They need to move it, because John Milan certainly has the beating of Paddy Stapleton on 50-50 balls.
He's got to get the ball, that's the main thing. Michael Breck-Walsh once again, taking it by John O'Brien, and John O'Brien's got to be careful. He's on a yellow card, remember. Now, there's nothing terribly malicious about that, but he's just got to be careful. Going into challenge, holding back his man.
Yeah, in fairness to Breck-Walsh, John O'Brien has scored 3 points, but the Brick has picked up an awful lot of loose ball around it. He's covering for everybody else, but John O'Brien is getting away from it.
Certainly has. Shane Welch gets a chance, and Shane Welch drives it to the right of the post. Can't guide it over the bar, which is what he intended to do. This is a guy who's got more goals than points in championship hurling. 4 goals and 2 points his career. Today his 12th championship match.
Let's see why maybe there with that shot.
5 minutes to go to half-time. Very much Tipperary's first half. Waterford back, defending. Stephen Malumphey throwing it back once again, this time to Dara Fives. Caught in the air by Porrick Mahoney, swiftly into the forwards towards Milan. This time Milan takes it down ahead of Stapleton. They've got to keep on doing that with some degree of regularity. Off he goes, Waterford need to score. John Milan, oh, he mishit it completely. The one player you would probably have put your few bob on.
Yeah, I think he got into 2 minds. He didn't know whether to go for a goal or tap it over the bar. I think at this stage, a point would have settled him. He hasn't scored from play so far. He hasn't got much ball, in fairness to him. Any ball that's come in, he's done well. But if you watch him here, he heads for the goal and
completely mishit.
Completely mishit. It really should have just tapped it over the bar with Paul Curran coming out to close him.
Brendan Cummins pucking it very, very long. Great catch in the air by Noel McGrath. Dished off quickly to Bonner Marr. Stepped inside 2 challenges. Now there's a gap, and it's buried in the back of the net by Owen Kelly. Goal and 3 points for him. That's his 20th championship goal, coming as it does 3 minutes before half-time. Very significant goal, you would feel. Waterford huffing and puffing, and then all of a sudden Tipperary explode. Bonner Marr, not for the first time, is the provider, and Kelly is a deadly and decisive finisher.
Yeah, Gerard, and the 2 players I mentioned maybe has been fairly quiet, Noel McGrath and Bonner Maher, combining there.
Tipper in a different class altogether on the evidence of what we've seen in this first half. 2-10 to 7 points they lead. 3 minutes to go to the break. Davy Fitzgerald down there encouraging his charges to lift it again if they can, but that must have been such a demoralising blow. What a great goal by Kelly. Remember the 2 goals he got against Waterford in last year's semi-final.
It was a brilliant goal, Gerard. Brilliant catch by Noel McGrath, and then the vision that we all know he has now. He's an outstanding hurler. Picked out Bonner Maher, and then he's probably the most unselfish player in the country. He's always looking for the loose man, and a great run into space by Owen Kelly. Brilliant goal. There's 3 or 4 great components of the game featured in that goal.
Tony Brown to Milan again. So I have to forget about that miss a few seconds ago now and hope for another one. Might happen. Owen McGrath left it there. Hasn't made an impact so far. Instead it is Pádraig Maher hand passing it out to O'Keefe, the other wing back, and John O'Keefe hand passing it into the centre. Gearóid Ryan this time the provider, down towards Lar Corbett. Problems inside, and Corbett finishes to the back of the net. Another one for Tipperary, another one for Lar Corbett. 33 minutes gone. 2 goals for Tipperary in the space of 60 seconds in the closing minutes of the first half have almost put Tipperary out of sight here. Consternation in the large square, and Waterford concede another goal. It's 3-10 to 7 points.
That's a simple finish for Lar Corbett, but it's really the run he made. If you could track where he started and where he finished, where he broke onto the ball, he ran 40-50 yards, as I say. But it's very, very one-sided. Waterford have scored. Tipperary, look, this is a special Tipperary team. We've been looking at a Kilkenny team over the last 5 or 6 years who are outstanding, and this Tipperary team now have come up to that level and have passed it out.
We're going to play 4 additional minutes. Waterford now trying to get another attack going before the break, and there are plenty of tip backs there to try and diffuse that particular attack, keep them at bay, and they succeed. Paul Curran hand passing it out to Gearóid Ryan. Big huge one down once again towards John O'Brien. Another chance for Tipperary being created. Callan this time, they make it look ridiculously easy. 35 minutes on the clock, and it is an absolute rout. 4-10 to 7 points. Clinton Hennessy beaten for the 4th time in the first half. They may have come into this match with something like 17 goals in their last 4 championship matches, or 5. They've got another 4 here. They're unstoppable, it seems.
They are, Ger, but Waterford, their defending is so poor. They're all been dragged out the field. Their full back line, they've been told now to go back in. But it's schoolboy stuff. The Tipperary full forward, and they're just coming out 30-40 yards. They're following them out and leaving all the space in behind. And really, it's somebody needs to stay at home and make sure that the goal the best hurler in the country last year, and he's going to really add to this team.
Yeah, he is a superb hurler, you're quite right, but let's just state it again. John O'Keefe has played really, really well in that half-back line up to now. Off with a blood injury, Shane O'Sullivan. This time played forward, and this time coming out, fumbling the first time by getting it there. Paddy Stapleton taking off. Gearóid Ryan dropped and missed. It's gone all the way in, and it's another one for Lar Corbett. Dear oh dear, 37 minutes gone, 3 goals and 3 points for Lar Corbett. 24 goals in all he has now scored in his career, and he now becomes the leading goal scorer of all time for Tipperary, and we haven't even reached half-time. 5-10 to 7 points. Waterford fans must be hoping that the referee's going to blow up pretty soon. Shane O'Sullivan lobbing it in, hopefully, but it's Paul Curran. They're going to give nothing away. This is every bit as devastating as the display by Kilkenny in the 2008.
He passed it to Gearóid Ryan, and then before he nearly had the ball in his hand, he had it hit, and straight in. And Lar Corbett, he makes it look easy, but he took that couple of yards away from his man, one touch into his hand and buried it. And it looks simple. His man should be tighter, but it's very hard to defend against it when the ball is coming in so quickly.
Pádraig Mahoney, to his credit, has just put over his 6-pointed free, but only one other member of the forward line scored today, and that was Shane O'Sullivan from play, and Tony Brown also got one from play. We're talking about keeping a sweeper back. You're quite right, Michael. They would need about 3 sweepers back, and it still wouldn't have kept out this absolutely rampaging Tipperary attack. And Doctors on quite a bit in the first half. Dara Fives cutting it up. Paul Curran getting it back to Noel McGrath. Don't know what this final score is going to be here. Could be anything.
Well, it really depends on.
Cork got 10-20 against Laois, but that was against a team not rated as highly as Waterford.
Well, it depends really what Tipperary's attitude is in the second half. They might take the foot off the pedal a little bit.
John Mullane comes, deeply frustrated, I'm sure. 2 backs against him. Mullane almost hooked, half hit it. Coming out to take it here is Michael Cahill, and Cahill clears it away down, back into the teeth of the Waterford defence once again. There's Jamie Nagle, the substitute, and the referee finally looks at his watch, blows his whistle, and mercifully from a Waterford point of view gives them a 15-minute break, because they have been on the receiving end like no other team in recent Munster wins, Munster Championship finals. And at the break here, there's no question or doubt about it, Tipperary are absolutely rampant.
Tipper doing, there's no doubt about that, but nobody likes to see a team getting the flaking like Waterford are getting at the moment.
No, but I mean, Michael, defensively, that's the worst I've seen from any performance or any team, I'd say, in Munster Championship hurling for a long, long time. In the first half period, to concede 5-10, I mean, the game is virtually over. And I think they've got it all wrong tactically. Okay, great putting Brick Walsh back full back, but the reality is Brick Walsh going back full back should have been picking up Lark Corbett. If they were going to man-mark somebody to stop the main man, it should have been Brick Walsh, should have picked up Lark Corbett. They left Jerome Maher on Lark Corbett and they put John O'Brien in at full forward. Tipperary did, and John O'Brien suddenly started drifting out the field, and Brick went with him, and all the high balls that came in, who was picking them up? Lark Corbett. So game over as a contest on the basis of all the goals they conceded. And I suppose you could say on the other side, right, getting 6 points from frees for Waterford, 1 point from their forward in the first half. Yeah. It simply isn't good enough, you know. And even the 5 frees they got, I think even at times they were lucky to get them, because there were 1 or 2 instances when they overcarried the ball, the free should have got the other way. So it's a complete mismatch, and Tipperary on top all over the field.
You do your best, Cyril, to send out your team, you try and devise a tactic, but sometimes it just blows up in your face.
Yeah, and like we kind of flagged it early on, that the Tipperary thing of Lara especially getting goals. And as Tomas says, they're all moving all over the place. And even Seamus Cannon and, say, Bonner Maher earlier on weren't doing much. Next thing they pop up as well. But it's the quality of Tip where they started. Like Shane McGrath midfield, he was majestic early on, up in the air. He kind of started the trend, you know, Pádraig Maher, wing back, and even John O'Keefe, the U5 wing back, the other wing back, right wing back, they all started driving forward. And the next thing, even though like Waterford knew that Tip would come at them and they're set up to kind of defend. The next thing, once the first goal came, it seemed to open the sluice gates altogether. And like, you know, they're in for a terrible hide now unless they can redress their half time.
Well, that first goal came from Laura Corbett.
Yes, Michael, I have 2 former players with me. Pat Fox, former Tipperary player, of course, and Dan Shanahan, recently retired from Waterford. Dan, your goal clinched the title last year in Thurles, but that's really slipping away now.
Oh, big time, Claire. I think Tip proved why they were Ireland champions today. They've been outstanding. I think there's 1 or 2 of the individual Tip team. They're playing as a team. Bonner Maher there has set up 2 or 3 goals there with simple hand passes. And goals win matches, lads. When you get 5, it's very hard to stop a team like Tip. Like, you know, I think they've been outstanding in the first half, so they have, and they're very hard to play.
There's 3 subs coming on, including your brother Morris. Can they make a difference?
It's very hard to make a difference when you're 5, 10 to 8 points down, like, you know. So they do their best, and they're playing about pride now, pride in the jersey now, and maybe the next day, whoever they get the next day, and work on that. But Tip have been awesome today, and Waterford have been poor, to be honest. They got 2 points from play in the first half from the lads, and young man, he's got all the frees. It's not good enough.
Pat, Tip really on fire today.
Yeah, all over the field they're on fire. Like what you say about the forward line, Lark Corbett with his 3 goals and 3 points, and you know what I mean. Every forward is playing fierce well. You know what I mean. John O'Brien is inside full forward line on the brick, and he's giving the brick a lot of trouble. Like, it started there from the start when Shane McGrath caught those first 3 balls into the air, and it set the trend of the first half. And it's great. John O'Keefe, all the backs, Pádraig Maher, they're all playing very solid there, and they're giving great delivery into the forwards. It's very hard for the Waterford backs to cope with the type of ball that them backs are sitting in.
Yeah, all too easy for Tip in one way, but it's hard to watch really Waterford suffer this kind of a defeat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's terrible for everyone, even for supporters, to see this type of display from Waterford, because you never get this type of display from Waterford. In my time, I've never seen this. You know what I mean? League 5 goals in the first half. It's just not Waterford's type of play, and it's pitiful to see it happening.
OK, well, Tip team just coming out on the field as we speak. That is the sideline view from here, Michael. Back up to you.
It's down, start of the second half, and I expect Waterford now to put up a bit of a fight here, a much bigger fight than they managed in the first half. That's Pádraig Mahoney's score of 6 points from frees. Tipperary, they'll hardly be giving up in their level of intensity. They'll want to drive on, I'm fairly certain. That's Noel McGrath over there, and he was being dragged back, so it's got to be a first free of the second half.
You know, it's not going to make an awful lot of difference. Maybe, you know, a bit of pride really is all they're playing for now. Try to narrow the gap and try to, you know, regain a bit of confidence for an All-Ireland quarter-final in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, a goal and 3 so far for Owen Kelly, and this free then to set the trend maybe for the second half. Taking plenty of time over it. Low enough trajectory, but the accuracy is always there, and that's a good start to the second half. So a 4th pointed free for Owen Kelly. 5-11 to 8 points. Just having a very quick look through the record books. Back in 1959, it was Waterford who inflicted a very heavy defeat on Tip in the championship. Then it was 9-3 to 3-4. Is this revenge? Long time since. Conor O'Mahony, big one up towards John O'Brien, breaks back down again. Lark Corbett ready to take it off, making an angle for himself. It's just looking almost routine. 3 goals and 4 points now for Lark Corbett.
And I know, Jared, it's easy to blame the defenders and centre, but Lark Corbett is absolutely on fire. You know, I don't know if I've seen a better forward display in many, many years. His first touch, his power, his pace, everything about him. And just saying to you at half time here off record, you know, it wouldn't be easy to play for any team to play against that Tipperary forward line with the movement they have, with the amount of great hurlers. And you know, they're really sending out a message. Kilkenny sent out a message last week, Galway sent out a message last night, but Tipperary are sending out a very emphatic one today here in Cork.
It's the way, Michael, in which Tipperary have just upped their game in the last couple of years. Under Liam Sheedy, first of all, now carried on brilliantly again by the new man Declan Ryan. I mean, Lark Corbett was one of those players who had good days and not such great days, but now he's consistently good, as Porrick Mahoney puts over his 7th point.
Yeah, I think they really bought into Liam Sheedy's management and Eamon O'Shea as coach. That, you know, reinvented their style of play, freshened everything up and brought it on to another level in terms of the preparation and their hunger now. They want to win what they can. You know, they realise the great Kilkenny team out there, and they want to emulate them and try to win as many All-Irelands as they did.
Patrick Maher now, such a good provider. Inside beautifully for Garrow O'Brien. And 3 in a row for Tipperary. The first of the match for Garrow O'Brien. Huge gaps again there. 45 metres out, unerring accuracy, and Tibredoran doing well. That's batted down one-handed by Conor O'Mahony. Everything's working out for Tipperary. Even when he batted it down not all that terribly well, there was a colleague in to pick it up. And now it is John O'Keefe who's bursting out of wing back. Good to see him back in the field again there. Deserves his chance to play in this Munster final. John O'Brien now. Again, looking to add to the score, but this one out to the right of the posts. 4 wides now for Tipperary, but pretty much a flawless performance by them.
Yeah, John O'Keefe, their under-21 star for the last couple of years, and really growing into this. You know, his first Munster final, he's having a super game there, and you know, I was maybe writing him off a little bit soon in the first half with Brendan Maher coming back, but just shows you the quality that they have on the bench as well.
And the battle there will be for places. Shane McGrath diagonally across to the corner towards Lark Corbett, this time being well held by David O'Sullivan, and O'Sullivan's clearance up towards his brother Brian doesn't get there. It's Michael Cahill, his marker, instead, nonchalantly playing it in towards Conor O'Mahony, and O'Mahony out wide beyond Callanan. And this time Michael Brick Walsh. Well, it was Noel Connors and Brick Walsh getting their signals mixed up, kicked on by Noel McGrath inside towards Owen Kelly, and Owen Kelly, from a mistake by the Waterford defenders, uncertainty among them, and emphatically punished again by Owen Kelly. He's got a goal and 5. That should have been cleared out, but nothing going right for Waterford. Kelly makes it look routine and easy. Great play. Here's Kevin Moran. Again, taking it forward into the heart of the Tipperary defence. Now, how much further will be able to go? There was a bit of a pull there by Conor O'Mahony, which wasn't legitimate. It's got to be a free in instead. But if Waterford start to play like individuals during the second half, it could get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, it's probably just the only area of concern I mentioned in the first half. You know, this is going to be 8 frees. Now, I know maybe 1 or 2 of them in the first half might have been a little bit soft, but you know, and referees tend to do that to the team. You know, they're getting such a hiding here. But you know, as I say, against Cork earlier in the year, they conceded 17 frees. Pat Horgan, I think, scored 13 points that night, 10 from frees. So you know, it's just an area maybe later in the championship that they'll have to tighten up on.
Well, the winners here will be in the semi-finals, and Brendan coming that semi-final already. That'll be in August, second of the semi-finals. From the puck out, it's caught by Tony Brown. He still played really well. On towards Maurice Shanahan. Programmed to start at number 10. Never started there, however, but into the second half. 3 Tipperary players blocking his route to goal. Back out again it comes. Porrick Mahoney now trying to get one from play, and he succeeds. Well, he's very much into his stride at this stage, having put over all the frees earlier on. So 9 points now his tally on a very well beaten team at this stage.
Yeah, good run there by Maurice Shanahan, up the middle, and then when he got held up, throughout a nice hand pass and a good score. Pádraig Mahony, nice hurler, good free taker, and nice point from play there.
That's hit in there towards John O'Brien, and again comes back towards Tony Brown, falls over, picks himself up, puts his defence in some difficulty. Noel Connors nursing it back towards O'Sullivan, and David O'Sullivan just getting it out where it all started, back out there with Tony Brown. Down the other end of the field, Maurice Shanahan wanted a shorter pass, never came to him, but it comes to Pádraig Maher instead, and he gives it away, only as far as Stephen Malumphey. Another run through the heart of the defence. This time the pass slipped out there, intended for Pádraig Mahony, but again it's John O'Keefe gets it away, putting the pressure there on Michael Welch, and the brick comes out once again. There's a simple little hand pass to give, which he does. Away to Jamie Nagle. Now the pressure on the Tipperary backs, maybe for once, batted back out, just in behind John Mullane as it came down from the stick there, I think, of Paul Curran, and it could have gone anywhere. Ends up with Conor O'Mahony surrounded by Waterford players. Down he went in a heap, and he gets the decision, free out. And that's Brendan Cummins, the goalkeeper, and he is set to break Christy Ring's record. Next time Tipperary play, it'll be in the All-Ireland semi-final, surely. That's a big jump there by John O'Brien, breaks down towards Maher, and Waterford trying to get the leaky defence sorted out and try to keep them at bay, but it's Owen Kelly again, and Owen Kelly fires it over, racking up the points at this stage. Goal and 6 for Kelly.
Yeah, and Jerry, we were talking about maybe, Lara Corbett earlier, but Owen Kelly struggled big time with a back injury over the last couple of years, and got it right last summer. And I don't think I've seen him early in the year going as well as he has this year. Right from the start of the championship, he's been on fire, and showing that, I suppose, trying to captain tip to back-to-back All-Irelands, which would be a huge achievement.
It would be magnificent. As I said at the beginning, the last time the Tipperary team did that was back in 1965. Jimmy Doyle was the captain on that occasion. Noel Connors has lost his stick, having to kick it back here. Running into difficulty here was the substitute Liam Lawler. Clinton Hennessy required, need to get it away. Eventually it is away by David O'Sullivan. Down towards Shane Welch. He's got very little opportunity to shine in this match. Paul Curran there to try and keep it away from him. Likewise Paddy Stapleton and Cathal McAllister, the linesman from Cork. Well, anxious to make sure that the line ball is taken legitimately. 5 debutants in the championship. Last time Waterford played, when they got that late goal victory over Limerick. Maurice Shanahan trying to get by. Pádraig Maher reaches in with the hand, holds him down. No question about the free. And certainly Maurice Shanahan is
the difference, and he's competing in the air stronger with Pádraig Maher than Owen McGrath was able to do.
Well, the theory might have been that Owen McGrath was able to go back and track the Tipperary runners, but I'm afraid they were absolutely overwhelmed. So Pádraig Mahony gets a 10th point in this match, and there's the foul again, which is by Pádraig Maher on Maurice Shanahan. Older brother Dan watching on.
Yeah, and you mentioned Brendan Cummins earlier, Jerry, just I suppose at this level to play 65 championship matches. I know there's a back door now for the last 30 throughout Brendan's, or a lot of Brendan's career, but at the same time 65 championship matches is a huge total. And here's Seamus Callan straight through.
Seamus Callan, as you say. Ooh, what a save that is by the other goalkeeper, Clinton Hennessy. Very good piece of goalkeeping. Stopped it superbly, and Tip aren't finished yet. They recycle it back out to Noel McGrath, well blocked down by Tony Brown, and the 38-year-old gets it out as far as Kevin Moran, and Moran has the opportunity to break out once again, but again he goes on a solo. Where's he going to end up? With Maurice Shanahan. Could have been a goal at the other end, and Waterford come looking for something here, and Maurice Shanahan has fluffed his lines and missed that chance, and he will be greatly disappointed.
Great block down by Tony Brown. It just shows you when your attitude is right, and he's having a great game for Waterford, despite the fact that they're getting hammered out there. He's keeping tabs on Noel McGrath, and he's keeping him relatively quiet. Only 1 point from play so far.
Tony Brown is an object lesson. I think I've seen so many players who are heading towards the end of their careers when they're 28 or 29. He's 38 for goodness sake, and he is so energetic.
He's a great attitude,
and he's producing out there. He's not just there to make up the numbers. He is actually delivering a performance But on a beaten team as Garrod Ryan hits it, taken down by Clinton Hennessy. It's going to be a 65. Kelly with his first 65. He's got a goal and 6 so far. 3 of the points coming from play. And this one is gone to the right, so missed opportunity. From the puck out here, it runs beyond a number of players, but not beyond Pádraig Maher, or Paddy as the players call him. And Tip once again get busy and try to lay siege on the Waterford goal with Bonner Maher, throwing it out there beyond Seamus Callanan, scampering after it once again, getting ahead of 2 Waterford players. Straight at Hennessy. Back down it comes towards Kevin Moran. So difficult to go out for the second half when you were so far behind at the break and try to produce something in front of a crowd of nearly 40,000. On towards Pádraig Mahoney, knifing his way through, almost losing his way, and then finally Conor O'Mahony got in the stick, but it comes back towards John Mullane, and John Mullane finally raises a white flag. Well, something for Michael to enthuse about on what is a bitterly disappointing afternoon for him. So change for Tipperary, and coming on stage by Davy Fitzgerald. Let's hope there isn't an injury or anything else. They've already suffered enough, I think, at Porky Queeve this afternoon. Maurice Shanahan once again. Oh, it's going well away.
Wrong option again. Kevin Moran brought that down to him. He's having a powerful game as well, in fairness to him, for Waterford. He's never stopped trying, and he's midfield now in the second half, and he's got onto an awful lot of ball. I think really it was in the middle of the field that Waterford really suffered in the first half. Shane McGrath and Garrod Ryan, you know, they were on won practically every ball around the middle of the field and supplied ball after ball into the forward line, and Kevin Moran has made a big difference in that sector, in the midfield sector, in the second half.
Batted out by Noel Connors, picked up here by Garrod Ryan, but lost to Shane O'Sullivan. Has a quick look up, spotted Mullane, tries to take it down to himself. Instead it is Stapleton back to his goalkeeper. And a relatively easy evening so far for Brendan Cummins. Back into the heart of the Waterford defence once again it comes. Hands and knees job in there for Waterford defender Michael Brick-Walsh, going back. Again laying it off with a hand pass. How often he does that from centre half back. Doesn't strike it away, but hand passes it out right or left. Tony Brown, big one in towards Shane Welch. And a point for him. First of the game then, so 2 points in a row then coming up there. One for John Mullane and one for Shane Welch, the 28-year-old from 4 Mile Water. As the defenders didn't deal with it, Welch onto it quickly. Yeah. More relaxed attitude by Tipperary's backs at this stage, I suppose.
I think so, and I think Waterford leading the second half now by 6 points to 5. Maybe some consolation for them. They have stopped a rot in the second half, but really the game was over and Tipper really just going through the motions now.
In terms of scoring chances created by both teams, there's actually not a great deal between the two of them. Waterford have created 22, Tipperary 29. Seems like an awful lot more.
Well, the goals are the difference, Chair.
Yeah. This is Jamie Nagle slipping it out to Maurice Shanahan. Now there's absolutely nobody on him, and it is a lot looser match at this stage. Oof. Not where Paddy Stapleton was concerned. He wasn't going to give up on it. Back in as far as Paul Curran, and the Mullinahone player drives it back down, but only to the waiting Malumphey. Could have given a shorter pass to Maurice Shanahan, decided not to do so, and Maurice looks back at him. And so from the puck out, Tony Brown goes up, needs a second go. Hitting it off his left-hand side, touched on by Shane O'Sullivan. Back goes Pádraig Maher, has the presence of mind to pick out Michael Cahill. Knows Cork well from his days at UCC here. Here's Garrod Ryan. Again with determination and purpose, he fires it in there beautifully into Kelly. It's another one. Goal number 6. Owen Kelly has got 2 goals and 6 points. And it's 54 minutes into the Munster final 2011. And Tipperary lead by 6-15 to 14 points from Garrod Ryan into Kelly. He's not giving up. He's going to be determined to get goal after goal. It's in his nature. And they are going to win this and are continuing to win it quite emphatically.
Yeah, Jared, that's a great goal. Garrod Ryan, we talked about a lot during the game. Brilliant ball in. Owen Kelly showed his strength there. Great catch and buried in the back of the net. And Garrett Ryan just gone off now, replaced by Benny Dunn. I think it looks like interesting that they didn't bring back on Brendan Maher. Maybe they're saying to themselves, maybe not worth risking his ankle. This game is over and they'll need him before the year is out.
Maurice Shanahan takes off again, and Morris goes down under the weight of the challenge this time, and it's going to be a talking to for Pádraig Maher.
Probably a card for persistent fouling, I'd say, Ger. In fairness to Maurice Shanahan, he's won a lot of ball off Pádraig Maher in the second half, and
it's Pádraig Maher, I think, who very definitely did the fouling before all of that.
Yeah, and he's definitely that's 3-4 frees Pádraig Maher has given away in the second half.
Yeah, yellow card should have been there for Pádraig Maher, as Pádraig Mahoney got his 11th free or point of the match. Clare 3 weeks ago. And you look back at that, and Clare were the ones who really made Tipperary fight all through that first half. By comparison, Tip have had it reasonably easy in this Munster final. Tony Brown hitting it. Inside towards Welch, breaks back out. In comes John Mullane, stymied however and stopped in his tracks by Michael Cahill. And again a precision pass out as far as John O'Keefe. Smartly up there towards Pádraig Maher, slipping the little hand pass out as far as the substitute Pa Burke. Trying to make a better angle. Nothing wasted, nothing foolish done by Tipperary. Trying to make sure that the percentages would ensure that the shot they eventually take is a pretty good one. And that one is close enough to it. Is it inside? Not quite. So Pa Burke with his first wide since coming on there. They worked hard to try and make an angle for themselves. Just under 15 minutes to go. Again, Benny Dunn this time getting onto it. His first possession. Let's see how he can use it. Pa Burke pursuing it, but it's the other number 17, Liam Lawler, who knocks it out of play. So a line ball to Tipperary. So we're looking at Tipperary in the semi-finals, mid-August. And we're looking at Waterford having to go back into action pretty soon, a couple of weeks' time. And we now can say that they will be playing Galway.
Play Galway, yeah, and Limerick play Dublin.
So it's a repeat of what happened 2 years ago. And for Davy Fitz, it's a case of trying to get his thoughts straightened out now in time, as that ball is beautifully hit over the bar. How about that by Noel McGrath? Just his second point of the match, but from the sideline. One of the great exponents of that particular art. Talk about Joe Canning and Ben O'Connor as well. Noel McGrath, very much a master of the art.
And he has a very unique style. He only takes maybe one step into the ball, and just how he generates that power. He has all the skill in the world, and he really is an artist. He's great vision, but just Tipperary got off to such a great start, and the game really was over after, well, I think it was 4 goals, was it, within 6 minutes coming up to half time, and that really, it really was over early on, but that really finished it.
And once again, Waterford now battling a lost cause, trying to get a few more scores. Kevin Moran placing it in there with some difficulty. Owen Kelly really unable to take it. Had to jump eventually over Pádraig Maher to take evasive action. Eventually it's Maurice Shanahan down to John Mullane, slipping the hand pass back into Kelly again. They're going this way and that, but it produces nothing, and that just about sums up their afternoon.
For Waterford for 10 or 12 years, but certainly looks a pale shadow of the player that we knew.
That's hit in by Michael Cahill. Shane McGrath now. Again, the pressure deflected by Waterford out as far as Tony Brown, swung around by Owen Kelly, and Waterford have the free. Waterford with their 15 points so far, 10 of those points coming from frees, 5 from play. By comparison, Tip 6-16, well, 6-12 of that total, huge total, coming from play. More pressure on by Waterford, touched on by Shane Welch, not the best contact however. Brendan Cummins hitting it straight up here. Kevin Moran takes up a good position. He's battled really hard, deserves an awful lot of credit, as you mentioned earlier, Michael. Stephen Malumphey now, back to the aforementioned Moran. Little block on it, but still trying to get it forward towards his clubmate at De La Salle. Benny Dunn now under pressure, clearing. Out for Pa Burke. Race for possession with Jamie Nagle. Tidy play by Nagle. Pádraig Mahoney was being held back by John O'Keefe, his marker. Free to Waterford. So a good performance once again by Noel McGrath this afternoon. And a star-studded forward line. They're going to take some beating. And if it's a rematch of Kilkenny v Tip come September, that'll be some game. Pádraig Mahoney, 11 points to his credit, make it 12.
Yeah, Jaron, I think, you know, a lot of people sort of had the All-Ireland final put down to Tipperary and Kilkenny, but, you know, Galway last night produced a huge performance against Cork, beat them by 12 points, and at one stage 6 points down, playing with the wind early in the game.